All right, welcome to the Lake Mead catfishing report for April. We've been doing a little bit of fishing in March as well, and so this will apply if you're watching this in future years in March. But this is the April catfishing report. This is how we catch catfish in April, what we do into May in order to continue catching them. We're going to go over the bait, the locations, and some of the other strategies that we use to make sure that we're not missing opportunities for catching good fish. So for bait, we actually personally like just using food. There's a lot of other things that'll work. We like using greasy food, whatever we're eating at the time. Hot dogs are a good idea, but some people will do shad, live or dead, anchovies, live worms, dead worms, the branded power bait, stink bait stuff that you can get at the store. All of it'll work. It doesn't really matter what you use, in my personal opinion. Some people will argue with me on that. They'll think differently. Catfish will eat just about anything. And so just as long as you're chumming in different areas around your boat instead of only down beneath your boat, you're going to have a successful time at least attracting them to your area and then hopefully getting them on the rod. Now, getting them on the rod is going to be a location based strategy. And so the strategy for that is to find a location with a flat sandy bottom that is near a drop off or a sandy shoreline. And so what we do is we position in about anywhere between 20 to 25 feet of water is about your sweet spot. And we cast one line shallow and one line deep. So one line shallow is going to be on either side of the boat. We have two lines, so we got four lines total. So you got one that's hopefully somewhere between 15 to 25 feet. Hopefully it's not deeper than 25 or else it's just kind of doing the same thing as your deep line. And then and hopefully it's somewhere on that slope. And then you've got another line that's cast a little bit deeper out, and hopefully it's somewhere between a minimum of 20 feet. You don't really want it much shallower than that because then that kind of defeats the whole purpose of having a deeper line. So anywhere between 20 feet all the way as deep as like 35 feet. And much beyond 35 feet deep, you're kind of defeating the purpose of it. But nothing wrong with catfishing out to even 40, 45 feet of water. You'll still find them. Nothing wrong with that. It's just not quite in our sweet spot anymore. And finding these locations, you can find them in Overton. There's some sandy beaches out there on your way out. On the right side is where we went. Right there's like a choke point where all of a sudden you're driving. It's like 100 feet deep, and then all of a sudden it goes to like 50 feet, and there's some peninsulas that you got to drive between. Right past those peninsulas on the right side, we got about 10 catfish the other weekend on one of those beaches. Sandy Cove is always a good one. Always works because there's people partying out there, and what do? Well, unfortunately, some of them throw trash over the boat, but some people they eat, like chicken on the bone, like a chicken wing, and they toss the bones over. Well, that's all food in the water that's attracting fish into that area. And so a good strategy actually could just be fishing at Sandy Cove in the evening. And you don't have to fish right in the cove where it's busy. You can actually fish near the cove where it's still sandy and flat, but you're not in the protection of the wake. And there's less people there. And the noise, the reduction of noise will help if you're just a little bit of a distance away from that noise. Because every time somebody drops something on the deck of the boat and puts a lot of noise into the water, it will spook the fish even if they're in the middle of feeding. So just being a little bit farther away from that might help you out. Boulder Beach is also another good area. Any of the marinas are good. So yeah, there's no one spot that you can go that's going to make or break it. We've had success literally everywhere that we've tried to catch catfish, we have caught catfish. So it matters more about the flat sandy bottom than it does about the exact part of the lake that you want to try to target. So we went over some casting strategies, boat placement strategies, like where to find like really good terrain for them. Some of like your timing strategies, like time of day. I mean, when you're sleeping and you're struggling with sleep, there's only so many hours in the day that you have to actually sleep when you're fishing at night. And we do most of our catfishing at night. During the day, I would much rather be bass fishing, working, or just doing something else other than catfishing. So catfishing can help when you're fishing at night, can actually help you use your time more efficiently. So when we do this though, we want to make sure that we are awake when the catfish are actually biting. Earlier, towards the end of March, early April, you're going to catch a little bit more fish between like 6 p.m. and like 10 p.m. So those are the hours where I'd be chumming a lot harder. I'd be checking my baits more often, and I'd be staying awake in those hours. And then after I fall asleep, I might only check my bait every 2 hours, or I might just stay sound asleep until I get interrupted by a catfish bell or wake up in the middle of the night, or in the morning, and see if I have something on in the morning. Now, as the season progresses, as it gets a little bit warmer out, sometimes I'll put a little bit less energy into the beginning. And so maybe we'll start at 8 o'clock at night. We won't even start fishing at 6. We'll start fishing at 8 o'clock at night. And we'll try to fall asleep early with the goal of waking up at 2 a.m., knowing that, hey, look, at around 2, 3, 4 a.m., some of those big catfish are going to be swimming around and biting in that cooler water before the morning hits. And I want to be awake, checking my lines, making sure that I'm not, fishing a line that's not going to catch any fish, right? So that's going to be closer to the end of May. And so this report will be relevant for most of the spring. So if you got questions, comment down below. I'll make other videos and hopefully enjoy them. If you've got other types of reports that you want to see, that places near Las Vegas that you think I might fish, I'd be happy to share our results in those months, or I'd be happy to even fish some of those lakes and tell you what I find. So what we found is that the fish are everywhere in Lake Mead as far as catfish, but there's some things that you can do that can increase your results. So you're not just catching 1 or 2 fish, you're catching more like, 6 to 12 fish. So anyway, hopefully this helps. Have a good day.